Welcome to Let's Bet, the show for folks who love betting on sports but hate losing money. I'll show you how to increase your sports betting bankroll by gaining confidence so that ultimately you can have the lifestyle that you deserve. I'm your host, Scott Pritchard, pro bettor, full-time for the past 31 years, founder of PritchardsPicks.com, home of Pritchard's Pick of the Day. Took third place in the Circa Invitational 1 year ago, was fortunate to be asked back by invite only. Alive and kicking, still 6 weeks to go. They've been cutting 2 contestants each and every week. It's a cutthroat, dog-eat-dog world out there, boys and girls. But we wouldn't have it any other way. We broadcast every Friday, Las Vegas time from 1 to 1:30, on demand on PritchardsPicks.com and on your favorite podcast and video distribution platforms. To reach out to us, I would suggest that you email us at letsbet@PritchardsPicks.com. That's letsbet@PritchardsPicks.com. Also, stay tuned throughout the broadcast for the next 30 minutes. I will be implementing a discount coupon code applicable throughout the weekend of sports betting this holiday Thanksgiving weekend. I'll get to that in a few short minutes. First things first, my guest is a welcome addition to the show, so popular that he's been asked back. You spoke. My viewers have spoken. I listen. You wanted more of Brad Powers. So Brad Powers, pro bettor, specializing in college football, is back with us on Let's Bet. Brad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me as always. Those last 3-4 months since I last talked to you flew by here.
Man, I blinked and here it is 3-4 weeks later. We only have about 6 weeks left of pro football, and this holiday weekend we're winding down the college football season. Overall, how's it been going, my friend?
It's been one of my better college seasons. Pro hasn't been as good, but college is, thankfully, knock on wood, we've had one of my better seasons. I had to make some adjustments on the fly this season. Usually I'm a guy that loves to get out in front of the market, give as much as I can out early in the week. Wasn't working the first couple weeks of the season. Noticed that there was some late week movement that I didn't necessarily agree with, and we've kind of transitioned to going later in the week, which has not been my forte the last 6 or 7 years, and thankfully this season it's worked out.
Walk me through your mindset and or your sports betting process week in, week out. Do you bet early? Do you bet late? Do you bet in between? All of the above?
All the above. I would say, obviously, personally, most of my portfolio is early in the week. I'm not afraid to bet every single game on the board when everything opens up on Sunday mornings at the different variety of the sports books, including Circa. They're at every Sunday at 10:30 Pacific. I'm not afraid. If I anticipate that I'll, can get in front of the line movement about 85% of the time. So why not bet it? Why sit there and wait and watch other people get good numbers when you can do so yourself? The majority of my portfolio is early in the week, and then we add on, as information comes to me throughout the week. Maybe thought processes change. But maybe I dive in deeper to a game and come up with, hey, I like something that I never even thought I would like. And then, sometimes games that I didn't even anticipate I'd have a bet on, maybe it moves into the range. I'll give you an example from last week. I did not expect to be betting Ohio State last week. Somehow game day comes, and I think there's an overreaction in the market to the one of their offensive linemen being out. And all of a sudden, what was 13.5 early in the week is now 10. I make a bet. Because that's what my numbers call for.
Sports betting philosophy. A lot of times I like to teach, train, and explain my viewers, my listeners, and explain to you that I have often said that you want to be on the move early or against it late. What does that mean in English? I'm glad you asked. To Brad's point, he says he almost always bets early, but he also bets late and a little bit in between as information, injury reports, and weather conditions come to be. I say that you want to bet on the move early or against it late because I'm a value sports bettor. We talk about closing line value. If you can lay 4 points on, say, Tuesday, and by kickoff on Saturday or Sunday, that lines up to 5.5, 6, does not mean that you're going to win. But long term, if you're getting a half point and a half, 2 points, the best of it, long term, you're going to be a winning player. How important do you see CLV, closing line value, Brad?
Yeah, it seems to be a hot topic of discussion. I don't understand the argument, honestly, because I'll be honest. Yeah, I don't understand why people argue against it, because I always say, if you don't think it's worth anything, let me bet the games 5 minutes before kickoff and let me use the opening lines. And nobody wants to take me up on that. So it does matter. It's obviously a case by case basis. It depends on the move, who made the move and whatnot. But I have specifically tracked it because at Circa, they have had the world openers for college football for the last 5+ seasons. They are the first one to open every single game, every single week, side and total. And what I have looked at is anything that moves 3 points or more. So a significant move, whether it be a side or total. If you had the crystal ball and got out in front of everything that's moved 3 points or more, congratulations, you're 60%. If you're looking to, 5 minutes before kick, hey, somebody knows something, I'm going to follow all this steam. This line's moved, 4.5 points on this total. I'm going to follow it. If you're late to the party, you're only 49% chasing it. So obviously in between the almighty 60% and the 49% lies the middle, where you want to be as a professional sports bettor, obviously above the 52.38% cutoff. So it does matter. It just, you gotta get out in front of it to start with, and you don't want to chase, at the very end.
You and I both have been fortunate, having had a lot of success in Las Vegas over the past few decades as far as sports handicapping season-long contests. Right now, as we speak, I'm currently in second place, one game out of first place in the Golden Nugget Ultimate Challenge. And we're talking about 7 games per week, college and pro football, point spreads only, no totals. I love totals. It would be great if they would bring that back. Years ago, when Paul Stone, who's been on this show a couple of times this year, he took first in the 2013 Invitational. I took second. Back then they had totals. Right now it's point spreads only. 6 weeks to go. First place is over $60,000. Second place over $30,000 for a $1,000 entry. I want to get your feedback in your specific theory or strategy. What do you see as the biggest difference between contest picks versus real life picks?
So, obviously, I tend to play a lot of the stale lines around key numbers. That was a formula for success for me, where I placed, in the top 10 of the Nugget 3 times in a 6-year period. It was a lot of that. And then as I got down to the finals, I tried to go a little meta and maybe, contrarian to try to get I was always chasing. I wasn't playing with the lead. I was trying to chase. So it didn't work out for me. Obviously I never took home the first place. So it's just a different mindset. I can tell you, this is in the weeds. It's very specific to the Nugget. The movements that I really paid attention to and usually put in my contest pickings for several years in a row were those Friday moves, when the markets opened up as far as the limits. And even if it wasn't maybe the biggest move of the week, but maybe it was that half-point critical move on a key number on Friday that I know that there was some significant money behind that. That's usually what filled out my picks on a weekly basis. At least 3 or 4 of those out of the 7.
I love what I do. I've said many times they play the Star Spangled Banner every day. I generally have action every single day, but I'm telling you, from September 1 until Super Bowl, with college and pro football, college and pro basketball, and NHL hockey, my plate is more than full. I chose to eat this frog. Emotionally, it's draining, up, down, sideways, chasing numbers, getting good value, trying not to get tossed at a sports book, being rejected at sports books, moving the number, moving the lines, being limited on what you can bet. It is a mind and an emotional challenge for 6 solid months. My question for you is, what annoys you most when it comes to sports betting, or what is it that you don't like?
Oh, wow. I would say a lot of it has to do with social media and what's popular now compared to, I would say legalization's had a lot of positive, but it's also had a lot of negative. I think some of the crowd that's been attracted to sports betting let's just say not my cup of tea, not the type of people that I'd probably love to sit down and have a beer with. The people that are get rich quick type people, not the type of people for me. And I guess look, there's this love-hate relationship with the sports books, more probably hate than love. I really hate how they're, I know they got a business to run and they got profit margins to make, but what they promote on a consistent basis uh, has, it leads to degeneracy, some significant problems. And boy, when they, anytime they have to take the best of it, they don't like it. But boy, when they can prey on customers, they have no problems doing it. So, social media and some of the marketing that sports books are doing is probably my biggest problem.
What about the other side of the equation? What do you enjoy most about sports betting?
Honestly, it's just diving into games, box scores, believe it or not, and messing around with my power ratings. I love it. How much to change it. I don't have some, I have my numbers go into a formula, but there's still obviously a lot of manual adjustments, particularly in college, because there's a lot of, newness to what we're seeing in college the last couple of years that we've never seen before. So just going through the box scores, watching games, watching film, that never gets old to me. And, I still get the warm and fuzzies when you release a pick, and love watching that down best screen light up as people bet your stuff. I still like that. I'd still, talk about an ego. It certainly helps the ego when you see, a line on the game, you give it out -3 and there it goes in 15, 20 seconds, it's 3.5. So that feels pretty good.
Very interesting you say that, because as you're talking about that, a few weeks ago, I had the crack man, Bill Krackomberger, on, and I asked him the same question, and he was very transparent and a little bit vulnerable, but always honorable and honest. And he said he loves the action. And it's like, wow, I think as a pro bettor, it's all about logic. It's all about math. It's all about getting the best of it. It's all about money management. But if I'm honest, to your point as well, I love the action. I love being in the game, so I can relate to what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing, it's me versus someone else. Like I make my number on the game, you make yours, and I make a bet. So, I mean, obviously there's ego that goes into that. But that never gets old to me. Sometimes you beat me, sometimes I beat you. Hopefully I beat you more than you beat me. But I like the competition. I like to compete. That's never been old. I mean, whether it was as a kid in my family of Uno card games, to trying to get the best of the number against the world in college football. I like to compete. It keeps me sharp, keeps the brain going. I don't like being a zombie. People looking at their phones all day. I like, let's go, let's compete, let's put money. I have opinions on games, and I'm willing to put my money behind it.
I like it. I'm going to take this time right now to share with our viewers and our listeners the discount code, 20% off by going to pritchardspicks.com. All picks, all packages, 20% off by using the coupon code THANKS. How applicable? Thanksgiving weekend. Thanks is the discount code to get 20% off, and this is good throughout the weekend. Brad Powers, pro bettor, specializing in college football, has done exceptionally well over the years in contests and also day in, day out betting sports. It's interesting to me that you focus primarily on college football. You are a guru, a sports betting expert when it comes to college football, but you do this not just for a few months. You're looking at college football in January, February when I'm hanging out in Thailand.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that would have been the case 10, 15 years ago, but there's so much roster turnover, so much coaching change. And for me, books are willing to put stuff up in January and February. That requires me that I don't take the eyes off the ball. And again, I do power rate all 134 teams. In the last couple of years, I picked up the FCS as well. So, just do the math, 260 plus teams I got a power rate. That's more than the 4 professional major sports leagues combined and then some. So it requires a lot of attention. And, is there value in it? Certainly. I mean, this big Ohio State Michigan game, I bet it in January of last year. They had a line on this game in January of last year. So as long as the books are willing to put out numbers on games, 8, 9, 10, 11 months in advance and put out win totals early, I'm going to be focusing on it 24/7, 365.
Ohio State is 20 to 20 and a half against Michigan. I'm going to take a wild guess and bet that you probably took Ohio State at a much cheaper price 8, 9, 10 months ago.
I did. It was egregious. Now we'll see if it wins, but it's a monster favorite. I laid 4.
Whoa. Are you kidding me? -4.
Yeah.
The line is now 20, 20 and a half. That's why he is doing what he does 24/7, 365 days of the year. Me, a little bit different. I take it one day at a time. Yesterday's game is history. Today is a mystery. I generally bet and have action each and every day. Don't care if it's 2 kangaroos in a foot race. If I have an informational advantage and I'm getting a competitive number, I'm in. But it's day to day. But right there, man, there are more ways than one to be successful in this business. So I take it day to day. But Brad specializes specifically in college football. January last year, a number of sports books put out quote unquote games of the year. And there you have it, a 17-point rate potential down the middle solves the riddle, or just roll with it. You're laying 4 when today, 8, 9, 10 months later, the line is 20 and a half. Man, oh man, you have my respect. I'm going to go on memory. A couple, 3 months ago when you were most recently on the show, Brad, I recall, I know how great a guest is when it's been weeks and months, and I still remember what they said. I asked you the top 3 skills to be successful sports betting, and you said money management, time management, and this third one really caught my eye, ego management. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's 2 fronts. Number one, you have to have an ego to make a bet, especially later in the week, because you are basically saying, I'm right, the world's wrong, and I'm willing to put money on it. And on top of it, lay 110 if you're making a side or a total bet. And so that's how confident you are that you're right and everybody else is wrong. That takes an incredible amount of ego, especially to do it time and time and time again. But where you have to walk the line is when things aren't going well, because it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows in this industry. Whether you're best in the world or you're just some average Joe, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That's just the statistical averages. So why did maybe you're running bad. You got to have the ability to check your ego and say, hey, is there something I'm missing? I'm just running bad because of variance. What is it? You always got to constantly question yourself, the results, and obviously not get too high, not get too low. It's a running thing, but you can never, unless you have, well, I would say multiple seasons of misjudgment and bad results. You got to still have that confidence there and keep it rolling. If it's a bad week, a bad month, the ability to continue to grind away, especially if you're a longtime winner like yourself.
Scott Pritchard alongside Brad Powers, 2 pro bettors Thanksgiving weekend. Before we get to our best bets, before we take a break, I want to ask you, what are you most thankful for, my friend?
Honestly, I'm here. I mean, I always say people, try, having a day when you're not 6 feet above ground. So to have, relatively good health, I should eat better than exercise more. But good health, good family, good friends, good, people that I get to work with on a consistent basis in the industry. I wouldn't have it any other way. Life is good. Thankful for it.
Personal question, you can relate it to sports betting or just life in general, but based on your life experience, if you could narrow it down to just one concrete message that you would share with the world, maybe it's a child, maybe it's, imagine your 10-year-old self sitting right next to you right now, based on what you've learned, based on what you know in life, what advice would you share?
Wow, that's loaded. We could do a whole podcast probably. As I get older, maybe I have a little bit more wisdom. I would just say this because I poo-pooed it. My dad, my grandparents, who raised me would always, tell me about it goes fast. And I don't think it can be emphasized enough that you're sitting there at 20, 25, 30, whatever you are. You think you got a lot of time. I'm here to tell you decades go by like that. And you're sitting here in your 40s or even older than that. And boy, don't take stuff for granted, especially in today's day and age, where you can get succumb to, social media or whatever, is in front of our face 24/7. It's okay to, take a step back, enjoy time with your family, because, there you can always make another bet. You can always get more money. But the one thing that Elon Musk or the poorest of the poor person in the world is all constrained to, that's the 24 hours in a day time. We can never get more of it.
I don't care how good you are. There's only one you. There's only 24 hours in a day. To your point, you can always replace your money. You can never replace your time. And dude, to your point, I've been here for 31 years. I came to Las Vegas in April of 93 from the Chicagoland area. I swear to you, man to man, friend to friend, I blinked, and here it is 31 years later. Brad, we're going to come back with your best bets. We're going to talk college and pro football this weekend. But first things first, let's take a quick break.
Hi there, this is Bruce Marin here in Las Vegas with Bruce Marin Public Relations and Bruce Marin Celebrity Speakers and Entertainment, celebrating our 50-year anniversary. I'm offering a 5-star endorsement for my dear treasured friend Scotty Pritchard, and you are watching Let's Bet.
Let's bet. No one does it or says it better than Bruce Marin, the president, CEO, founder of Celebrity Speakers and Entertainment Bureau here in Las Vegas, celebrating 50 years. He looks great for 50. Are you kidding me? Man, that's amazing. Okay, we're going to do our best bets with Brad Powers, Scott Pritchard. My record on this show, because you asked for it, we try to deliver the goods on a regular basis, week in, week out. 12 weeks ago, I started giving out my best bets. 8 wins, 4 losses versus the number, coming off the Tampa Bay Giants football game a week ago, under 40.5. Winner, steak and lobster dinner. Before we get to my best bet this weekend, it's a college game on Saturday. I'm going to defer to my friend, mentor, all-around great guy, college football betting expert, Thanksgiving weekend, Brad Powers. Brad, who do you like?
Question is, how many of these do you want me to give out? Because obviously it's the biggest, believe it or not, it's the biggest college board we've ever had. We never had 65 games, 67, you count the 2 MAC games before. Nobody has a bye. So you want me to give out just one or multiple?
In your case, let's go up to 5 college games for Saturday.
That works to my advantage because I'm all about volume. So I'll give you a couple of sides that I really like. UTSA +7. Quick handicap on that one is catching Army off of Notre Dame. Been super profitable this year. No team after playing Notre Dame has covered a point spread this season. Makes sense for 2 reasons. Number one, very physical Notre Dame team this year. And number 2, always Notre Dame's a big game. You're a little flat the week after. Army's got Navy and the American Championship game on deck. This game doesn't mean much to them. UTSA +7. Little maybe inside info game. This is the classic bailout game, the final game of the college football regular season. New Mexico against Hawaii. We're going to lay the 2.5. You might have to, lay a -2.5 juiced on this one. Why? Because Hawaii's quarterback might not play in this game. It is not widely known in the marketplace yet. Once he gets ruled out, this line is blowing right through 3. So let's take New Mexico with a win. They're in the bowl game. Their win total is only 1.5. We like New Mexico. Another game that I like Arkansas +3 against Missouri. This is a game where Arkansas, to me, statistically, yards per play margin, the much better team. More than 1 yard per play margin better than Missouri, despite playing a tougher schedule. It's simple. It's just a numbers play for me. Let's take the 3 with Arkansas. Derivative market, team total. For me, because I lean Ohio State in the big game, because I lean over in the game, let's combine the total between the 2, and let's go Ohio State team total over 31.5. You got to ask yourself this: if Ohio State late in the game, do they have motivation to punch one in against Michigan? You're damn right they do, because obviously they haven't beaten Michigan in 5 years now, and we saw Ohio State even last week against Indiana. Do they take a knee or they punch it in the final seconds? I believe Ohio State, if given the opportunity against an overrated Michigan defense, I'll score here. And then finally, for me, it's not maybe the best disparity between my power ratings and the line, but I'm going to take USC +7.5 against Notre Dame. I made it 7. all important half point on the critical number of 7. But it's also, I'm not a big trends guy or history like I used to be, but I am a Notre Dame fan. And I can tell you this, Notre Dame very, very rarely gets margin in the Coliseum. In fact, only 5 times in their last 27 meetings in the Coliseum have they won by more than a touchdown against SC. On top of it, it's been tough to get margin on this year's USC team, period. Yes, they're 6-5, but USC in every game this season has held the lead in the fourth quarter. So they are much better than the record. Add it all up, there's 5 best bets for you. Loaded card.
I love it. Added value, no added cost. Not 1, not 2, not 10, but 5 winners from college sports betting expert Brad Powers. Been doing it for a long, long time. So there you have it. UTSA +7, USC +7, and the hook. Ohio State team total just for the Buckeyes to score over 31.5. New Mexico -2.5. UTSA +7, and the Razorbacks of Arkansas +3. I've got one play, one time again, 8 and 4 documented video. Documented, audited on this channel. Let's Bet, coming off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Giants game under 40.5. You hear about it when I lose, and you're definitely going to hear about it when I win. 8 wins, 4 losses, looking good, feeling good. Winner, winner, steak and lobster dinner. One play, one time. It's not how many you bet, it's how many you win. Less is more, oftentimes. Unless your name is Brad Powers, then it's a smorgasbord of options, and why not? Because he consistently, week in, week out, long-term gets the best of it. I'm looking at the Kansas-Baylor football game Saturday. Baylor opened a 1.5-point favorite. The early money has been, and the sharp money has come in on the Jayhawks. And I understand why. Kansas, I love the fact that they can run the ball. This time of year, I look for teams that can control the line of scrimmage, control the clock, control the game, and ultimately control the score. Kansas, Neal, their star running back, don't take my word for it. You can ask Colorado. You can ask their head coach. Primetime, Neon, Dion, Prima Donna, Deion Sanders. His Buffaloes gave up to one player, Neal, 287 yards rushing on 41 carries. Are you kidding me? I do respect Baylor, home cooking, home crowd. Robertson, stud quarterback, 26 touchdowns, only 7 INTs. So I am impressed and I do respect, but my money, forget laying the 1.5, because it could be 24-23 final. They win, they celebrate, and I lose. I'm going with the cheap. How cheap? Cheaper than your prom date's perfume. I'm going with a cheap money line. Kansas -$1.20. They're going to win the game straight up. Kansas -$1.20 on the money line on the road against Baylor. See the cashier. Brad Powers, want to thank you for being with us. You are a 5-star, rock star, superstar, sports betting guru specializing in college football. Great having you with us again. How can people find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on X, what you kids used to call Twitter, Brad Powers 7. If you like what you see as far as that, you can head on over to the website, bradpowersports.com.
Happy Thanksgiving weekend, my friend. Continued good luck. In the meantime, see the cashier.
Happy Thanksgiving. Love the Kansas pick.
All right, great. That's a little positive affirmation from one of the world's best is never a bad idea. For Brad Powers, my name is Scott Pritchard. You've been watching Let's Bet. We come to you every Friday from Sin City, beautiful Las Vegas, 1 to 1:30. This is a holiday special edition, Thanksgiving week. Brad gave you 5 winning picks. I've got 1 winning pick with Kansas on the money line against Baylor. To reach out to us, I would suggest that you email us at letsbet@pritchardspicks.com. That's letsbet@pritchardspicks.com. That coupon code to get 20% off all picks and packages throughout the weekend until Monday. Thanks. THANKS. Thanks gets you 20% off. Are you kidding me? I'm giving away the company store, and that includes the recurring. If you want the Pritchard's Pick of the Day monthly, 20% off forever, as long as you get dialed in before Monday. Coupon code thanks. For Brad Powers, my name is Scott Pritchard. Until next weekend, see the cashier.